7 hard money lessons people are going to learn during this pandemic. I was very young when the markets crashed in 2008. I hadn't yet stepped into reality. I didn't have a full-time job or a stable financial situation. I didn't have enough background or understanding of what a crash meant or how it affected people's lives. With hindsight, it's easy to see why my parents were so worried up during my senior year of high school. At the very least, I can imagine how they felt. But it would have been foolish of me to think that I knew what it was like to carry such a burden. I'm young and currently experiencing my first global recession. Unemployment benefits have been applied for by millions of people. Businesses are closing their doors. Employees are being laid off by both startups and companies. The entire planet has come to a complete standstill. It's tempting to imagine that what's happening now will continue indefinitely when you graduate from high school and start your first job, and even as you develop in your profession. This is what I'm going to be earning for the rest of my life. You think as you start making decent money. This is far from the case, as people who are older, brighter, and more experienced than me can attest. While this is clearly my first recession, global pandemic, and first time as an adult in the workforce, I am reminding myself that life ebbs and flows. The Great Depression was not a permanent state of affairs. The 2008 mortgage crisis did not last permanently. The stock market is rising. Markets are falling. There will be plenty of opportunities. And the window of chance will close. On the other side, those that keep their cool and optimize for these waves of change will be successful in the long run. Here are 7 things everyone should remember about personal finances during, through, and after the coronavirus pandemic. 1. It is not about the money you earn. It all boils down to how much cash you can save. My father used to tell me this all the time as I was growing up, but it's a lesson that you have to feel and experience for yourself in order to fully appreciate. Many of the people I know earn $250,000 per year and save $5,000 per year. They live lovely lives, but they also put themselves in harm's way. Individuals who earn $80,000 per year and save $20,000 per year, on the other hand, are people I know. They live simply, but they put themselves in a position to succeed in the long run. I strongly suggest that you live as though you are the latter. Also, as your income rises, the amount you set away for safekeeping should rise with it. 2. Never undervalue the importance of having cash on hand. I used to put everything I had in stocks when I first started making money. I wanted to start tracking the progress of my funds over time. This was great in theory until I decided to leave my 9-to-5 job and start my own business. Having money in shares, while though liquid, felt excessively risky. My safety net would be badly impacted if the markets crashed tomorrow. In the markets right now, we're witnessing the same thing. Saving money means establishing a balance between the money you invest and the money you keep on hand. A good rule of thumb that a mentor of mine advised me to follow was to always have 3 months' worth of living expenses on hand. 6 to 12 months is a reasonable length of time in my opinion. 3. Keep the 50-25-25 guideline in mind. Since the day I graduated from college, when I was barely making minimum wage, I've taxed all of my side hustle income at the highest rate, 50%. For me, this serves 2 purposes. To begin, I wanted to develop the mindset that I would eventually be in the highest tax rate. Second, I never wanted to find out at the end of the year that I owed more money than I had set aside. Instead of having to take even more money to compensate for my math error, I decided to give myself a bonus at the end of the year. I try to save at least 25% of the remaining 50% of my side hustle money in the same way that I tax all of my side hustle money at about 50%, meaning I put 50% of everything I make away in an account to pay taxes with at the end of the year. That means I set aside $50 for taxes, $25 for savings, and $25 for living costs, vacations, restaurants, and so on for every $100 I earn. I like this approach since it keeps all of my main variables, taxes plus savings, constant, and if I ever want to spend more or improve my lifestyle, I'll have to figure out how to make more money overall, rather than pulling money from taxes or savings. 4. Make sure you're ready for the worst-case scenario. As an example, consider what we're going through right now. One of the main reasons I'm so dedicated to saving money is to ensure that I can weather another recession. Regardless of how much money they make, every 20-something should try to save and build a financial foundation. I was saving $20 per month when I first left college and was barely making minimum wage. When you're not making much, it can feel unachievable or even inconsequential, but you have to constantly remind yourself that small efforts do add up. $50 will increase to $100. The amount of $100 will be multiplied by 500. The amount of $500 will be converted to $2,000 in this case. Before you know it, you'll have $5,000 in your savings account. Saving in the early years is always the most challenging. However, after around 3 years of developing the habit and seeing that first comma in your savings account, your entire mentality will transform, and you will recognize the long-term value of saving. 5. Make an effort to establish a variety of revenue streams. It's vital to diversify your income streams, especially in today's environment, when millennials struggle to find work and the internet is an easily accessible resource. Here are a couple of my personal examples. I pay myself a salary through my internet marketing company. I published a book on Amazon, as well as a variety of smaller ebooks on my website. Your goal should be to develop 7 cash streams for yourself, so that if one fails, the others can keep the ship afloat until you can either fix what went wrong or create a new source of income. Bonus: all money streams other than your primary pay should be sent to a savings investment account, according to my final piece of advice. This will force you to continue living within your means while seeking to increase your savings or investment capacity. 6. Spend time with financially knowledgeable people. This is a statement that should be scaled in accordance with one's financial situation. Some millionaires, once again, spend every penny they earn. Other millionaires put a considerable amount of their earnings into savings or investments. You want to hang out with people who live like the latter rather than the former. The major reason for this is that you won't have much extra income to save or invest, especially in your early 20s, so you'll want to make the most of what you do have. And if you hang out with folks who waste money, you're likely to do the same. Instead, I advise you to look for those that are exceedingly fiscally responsible. I looked for people I knew who were successful but didn't live expensive lives, such as family members, friends, and others in my network. I wanted to learn how they managed their money so I could follow in their footsteps. 7. Never put everything on the line. If you're ever offered a financial opportunity that requires you to put it all on the line, don't take it. When you're young, these kinds of decisions are relatively easy to undo. Even if you risk everything and lose, you'll have years to make up for it. You'd be just fine. However, I am opposed to operating this way because it can be the beginning of a far worse habit. You don't want to develop a habit of betting on everything. Instead, you should make it a habit to only bet what you're willing to lose in order to avoid risking your long-term financial status. This concludes the 7 hard money lessons you will have to learn. Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button for more videos like this.